Hey guys, my name's Steph, I'm Botanist Cool, and today I'm showing you a simple homebrew one-page RPG that I made and you could play with your friends. As always guys, a big thank you for helping me with the Quest Helper series. I have been thoroughly enjoying it so far and I hope you have too. For those who don't know, Quest Helper is all about showing the positive and creative outputs of D&D and tabletop RPGs as a whole, and hopefully getting people more interested into the actual hobby itself, because in all reality, there are some stereotypes and they're not all true. If that sounds fun for you guys, leave that a like, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, all that good YouTube stuff, and comment down below. It helps my engagement, it helps me grow, it helps us make cool stuff together, and I'm really hoping you guys enjoy what we see. Anyways, today's topic is actually going to be something a little more unique. Using the Lasers and Feelings module, I actually made my own rule set. It's kind of a homebrew of that game, and I made it specifically for the Halloween season that we are currently coming upon. Now, for those who don't know, I love Halloween. It's fun. It's kind of the day everyone gets a free pass to LARP, in a way. Do you want to be Dracula? You can go talking like this with a cowl and a widow speak. It can be a lot of fun with your friends and family. You know, it's just a lot of miscellaneous fun, and it's mischievous, and it's adventurous, and it's just kind of wild. I love Halloween for those reasons, and I wanted to make a game based off Halloween. Now, it's going to be a little weird because I'm going to show you basically the entire rule set on the screen as my background, and we're just going to go over it one by one because it's a one-page rule book. That's it. And even then, a lot of the rules are suggestions of how to do stuff. But before I get ahead of myself, let's just go and actually read the rules together and talk about how you can DM this game and how you could play this game. All right, guys. Let's get right on into it. It's going to be a one-page tabletop RPG rulebook. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to be reading it right off the actual computer, so I might not be looking at you the entire time. Forgive me for that, but let's go on and have some fun. This is the Trick or Treat game by yours truly, Steph. It's going to be a lot of fun to play, and it's meant to be played almost satirically, making fun of the suburban situation of general living in America, right? Obviously, not all of us have grown up in the suburbs, but if you have, we're kind of poking fun at our, our suburban comeuppance, shall we say. We are in the beautiful town of Midtown, United States, in stereotypical state, Midwestern area. Beautiful town, gorgeous fall scenery, and hey, we're going out with our friends trick-or-treating today. We're between the ages of 5 to 15, something along those lines, right? And we are going out to trick-or-treat and have a great old time and probably experience something a little supernatural, depending on how the DM wants to run it, of course. Now, to play this game as a player, you need to create your character. You need to choose an attitude and a costume. Now, if you want to play along at home, do this right now. Choose yourself an attitude and choose yourself a costume. Do you want to be brave, cowardly, friendly, greedy, curious, or spooky? And what kind of costume do you want? Do you want a fantasy costume, a western costume, a sci-fi costume, a monster, a ghost or mummy, like an undead, or a corny joke costume? What do you want there? These are kind of important because these will tell you whether or not you add dice to your rolls later on, but we'll get to that when we get to that, all right? Next, you want to choose a number between 2 through 5. And that's going to be your only stat, a number between 2 through 5. Let's say you want a high trick stat, right? You want to be a trickster, you want to be devious, you want to be conniving, you want to be someone of action, right? Then you want to put that number pretty high, around the 4 to 5 area, because that means you're going to have a high trick stat. But if you want to be someone who's diplomatic, thoughtful, charismatic, and carefully cunning, you want to go for a lower number. You want to go for treat, right? So you want to have a 2 to 3. It's going to be up to you what you want, but you just want to make sure that you know what you're rolling for, right? And of course, name your character and choose a specific costume. So I'm going to make one with you guys right now. I want to make a spooky, scary skeleton. There we go. He's going to have a high trick stat of, let's say, a 5. which means he could do a lot of those more devious, tricky, skeleton-y things. But when it comes to treating and being nice and cordial, he's going to have some lower stats, obviously, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So he's going to be a spooky, scary skeleton. And that's going to be just kind of how we go on, right? Now, of course, you could specify your character costume as much as you want. Just make sure it says in one of these genres. The genre is there just to provide a generality so the DM knows how to kind of judge what you're doing. As an example, if you chose to be a fantasy mage or a sci-fi officer on a spaceship, it would be different bonuses on certain things, right? But let's continue with our spooky, scary skeleton as my personal example and keep yours in the back of your mind as well. Next thing we want to do is, if your DM wants to, and if you want to, you guys can choose to have a chaperone. The chaperones can, of course, have 2 cool things and 1 lame thing about them. The cool things include that your chaperone's in costume, could be a really fun actor while they're in costume, they're energetic, they have a dog, which is always a lot of fun to walk with a dog, they have extra candy, or they know the good houses to get candy from. These are a lot of things that would make a pretty good chaperone. And you have to choose one lame thing because no one is perfect. They could be unenthusiastic, they could be on a time crunch, they could be a helicopter chaperone, making sure that every piece of candy is thoroughly vetted before you have the chance to eat, getting their sweaty palms, pulling the taffy. Ugh, no one wants that. Or they could be a candy tax collector, which could, of course, lower your personal count in candy, right? So those are some options for the good and the bad of the chaperones. Typically, the chaperone will be played by the DM, or if a player wants to play them, just make sure that you are communicating consistently and making sure that they're not overstepping their bounds. And hey, if you want, make sure the chaperone has a cool little character creation as well, right? Rolling dice is the most complex part of this game, and it's a little weird to understand, right? When you want to roll for a stat, if you want to roll for the trick stat, you have to roll under the number you chose. If you want to roll for the treat stat, you have to roll above the number you rolled, right? And as you can see above me, trick is whenever you believe your character is acting devious, impulsive, deceptive, or of course, playing a trick. Treat is whenever your character is acting calm, logical, diplomatic, or giving a treat to a friend. And your DM will specify more along the lines like, are you running away? Is that a trick or treat? Are you going to use your fantasy imagination to fight with your mage powers? Is that a trick or a treat? That's going to be up to your DM and you guys to actually talk about it. So as an example, let's say you're doing a knight, right? And you are using your fantasy magic to fight Dracula. Fighting him might be a trick, but your fairy friend, right, who maybe your friend's a fantasy fairy, casting a cure wounds on Dracula to get rid of the Dracula's curse might be a treat. There's a lot of options here that you and your DM are going to have to talk about. Now, whatever you do, you roll 1 dice. And when 1 dice succeeds, you succeed at a cost. So as an example, you want to steal candy. You stole candy, but your chaperone saw that. What is your chaperone going to do afterwards? You don't know. It's up to the DM or the chaperone player. Or you tried helping someone out of the bushes. You brought him out of the bushes. 1 dice succeeds. You brought him out, but now you fell and got a tear in your costume. That's not going to be fun for you. You have a success at a cost, right? Now, you could add 1d6 if you're prepared for it, right? If you and your friend said, hey, I want to make a plan to steal the candy from the neighbor, you could roll and added 1d6 to that. And once you get 2 passes, you just succeed. No cost, you just succeed, and the DM goes, yeah, you successfully roll up to the house, you take a little bit extra candy, all is good, nothing to worry about. Boom. All good. Or you prepared for helping your friend who just ripped their costume by bringing a sewing kit with you. Good. Roll 2d6. You succeed twice. Yeah, there you go. You now have a fully fixed costume. You succeed once, it's fixed, but you no longer have your sewing tools available to you. Something like that. You see what I'm getting? And last but not least, if you either get help or are an expert in this subject, then you get an added 1d6. Now, expertise comes from your attitude and your costume genre. if you want to get by the security of the automatic sounding doormat that goes boo every time when someone steps on it, and go grab some extra candy, if you're a sci-fi officer, you might be able to do that a lot better than any monster or mummy can, because you know how technology works, right? You could deactivate it with your fancy sci-fi watches. Boop, 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 boop. It's all about the magic of Halloween and the imagination there, right? Or if you're a spooky, scary skeleton, you might have expertise in scaring kids into dropping their candy, and you could take their candy from them. Or you might be able to scare someone in a haunted house and make them run out the other side if you're having a race through the haunted house or something like that. There's a lot of options to do that with. Now, if you are someone helping someone, you could say, hey, listen, I'm gonna help this person lift the really heavy wagon just by helping them lift the wagon. No big deal. That could be a treat. Yeah, fantastic. You now help them lift the wagon. They get an extra 1d6. Your GM could choose whether or not to allow 4d6 rolls, where you have expertise, preparation, and help. But that's up to your GM, and make sure you talk about that before the game. And that's the basics of the game. Now, there is one special rule. If you roll your number, if you roll your exact number, you get to ask the DM a question of your choosing. Now, let's say we get two rolls, right? And let's say, for example, when it came to that helping roll that I had, I rolled a 3 and a 5, right? I got one success, which was also a trick or treat. I can either choose to ask the question to the DM and get an honest answer, or I could choose to get that partial success. So let's say I decide, hey, DM, I got a question for you. Do I know if this monster's a real monster? Let's say that you have some fantasy. Let's say you have a real Dracula in there. Like, do I know if this monster's a real monster? And DM will go, you know what? Yeah. If we're being honest here, you roll the trick or treat. You know, you see that like the teeth are not, the fang's teeth are not actually fake. You see that they're 100% real. You can tell this is a real Dracula, you know, and that's how that kind of works out for you. Taking this game off the bat and doing a spooky, scary game day of can be difficult. So we included some story ideas. Now these story ideas are kind of ridiculous for the reason that they're supposed to be ridiculous. Let's take an example of our D6. What we have to do is we have to roll a D6 for each thing. A threat, a want, and a right? So let's roll a D6. First one. That's going to be a 5. So the threat is Dracula. Dracula wants to, let's roll again. That's going to be a 4. Protect. What does Dracula want to protect? The Wolfman. I got a 5 there. I got a 5, 4, 5. So Dracula wants to protect the Wolfman. Now, it's up to the DM to decide, why does the Wolfman need to be protected, and how is this a problem for the party, right? Or if you don't like it, just re-roll it again. Let's see. Dracula, again, Jesus Christ. All right. There we go. Dracula wants to destroy. I got a 2. Dracula wants to destroy the haunted house. Why does Dracula want to destroy the local haunted house? And is it a haunted house that actually has a ghost in it? Or is it one of those haunted house setups your neighbor did? We don't know. That's up for the DM to decide, right? So you can make some really wild stories with this where your group of kids go to thwart Dracula from stopping him from destroying the haunted house. Or maybe the HOA wants to steal the Halloween decor from the entire neighborhood. Maybe there are bullies who want to destroy or damage everyone's Halloween costumes. Maybe Santa Claus is here to purchase the Halloween spirit and take Halloween for himself. We don't know. These are all the ridiculous stories you could have with this system. It is a wild system that you could have fun with. You don't have to use it. You could come up with your own story. But I'm actually going to try to DM this with some friends later on for fun. And I'm using this. I've already actually made my plot off that little table. And it's going to be wild. I'm really excited for it. And maybe I'll tell you guys what it is on Halloween itself. I'll see. It's just wild. Always keep this one thing in mind. your party is typically going to be kids or teenagers. It's supposed to be a fun, lighthearted, goofy event, almost Scooby-Doo-ish in the way of how ridiculous it's supposed to be. Don't be afraid as a DM to put on accents for Dracula as an example, or speak roughly like the werewolves, you know. Don't be afraid to have a little bit of fun with that and be wacky, be creative, and don't be scared to let people use Halloween magic and the mind's eye. Kids are imaginative. Maybe if there is a cowardly cowboy, and this is the first time that cowardly cowboys decided to shoot their fake revolver, there's magic Halloween imagination bullets coming out shooting the Wolfman. The Wolfman takes some damage because of Halloween magic. Of course, it's not gonna be lethal. These are kids, but like, you know, Halloween magic, have fun with it. Think about all that fun you could have just kind of ding-donging around in imagination sense. The whole point of the game is to explore a child's imagination during Halloween and just have fun with it, go wild, and enjoy yourself. That's the most important part of this game. I just want to say thank you very much for your support. If you want to play this game, the rule set will be down below, linked down below in the Google Doc. You can play it at any time, have fun with it, enjoy yourself. And hey, if you do play it, tell me how it went in the comments. I want to know. I want to see how you guys had fun with your friends, how you ding-donged around and enjoyed yourself. And did you play Ding Dong Ditch? Did you thwart Santa Claus? Did you help the Wolfman? Tell me what happened. I would love to hear. Did the witches burn down all your Halloween decor, or did the HOA actually help you, which would be a wild thing to ever assume? You all tell me. I want to know what you guys did. And hey, if you like that kind of stuff, leave a subscription and hit that like button. All right, guys? Anyways, y'all stay safe, stay Botanist Cool, and happy Halloween. Bye, everyone.